Hey Prox Gaming Crew, and welcome to my first ever video game review on the channel. And today we're going to be going to talk about a video game series that I grew out of, but slowly reeling myself back in. And that is going to be known as Skylander Spyro Adventure. Now, to give a little bit of backstory to my experience with this game, it started when I saw the E3 trailer for the game in 2011. I gushed all over it. Now, as a 12-year-old kid at the time, and seeing the figures getting on those portals and having them magically show up to your TV was a really cool idea. And when this game came out, I remember going to my local Future Shop at the time, and yes, did you hear me right, Future Shop. This place I like to call it as the Jackpot Central, specifically for anything Skylanders. Now, I remember when I was with one of my friends at the time, we were talking about some Skylanders that I didn't have, and lo and behold, the Skylander that I wanted was there. It was Cinder. And I saw it right in the corner of my eye, and I felt like I was on an episode of The Game Chasers seeing like a surprising video game or something. Now, unfortunately, this Future Shop did get rebranded into Best Buy later on in Canada, but still had great things though anyways. Some of my favorite figures that I really do enjoy are Voodoo, Terrafin, Prison Break, Camo, and of course with Whamshell. Well, since I already went and already discussed about my spiel so far about how I learned with everything Skylanders and some of my favorite Skylanders throughout this game, now it's time to go and take a journey into the review itself. To summarize this game plot without me going on and on about it, the story is set place in the Skylands, with the Skylanders protecting the Coral Light, which unfortunately gets destroyed by Chaos and his Hydra, which also in turn makes Master Eon a spirit. Now, how will we ever go and fix up with the Coral Light? Well, you might ask, well, we must find a lot of internal sources and other parts to connect everything back together. In the first chapter, we meet with Flynn and Hugo. Flynn is voiced by Patrick Warburton. He has a great play in any type of character who has that dumb but humorous side to him. Like Gronk in Emperor's New Groove. I loved that movie when I was a kid. And Flynn is our travel buddy for a few but slowly later the chapters start moving towards other characters like Gurglefin, Diggs, Clamtron 4000, Weapon Master, General Robot Arbo, and of course my favorite is T-Bone. I won't delve into the expansion world right away, but I'll get them into the later parts of this said review. But keeping onwards with the main story, you'll learn about the basic functionality of your Skylanders in the first chapter, such as finding scrolls, opening up elemental gates, chests, hats, and legendary treasures. Now, on your travels, you may come across, like with other soul gems. These gems are great to go and use. They have special power that you can learn in an upgrade form. From Persephone. But you need to go and find where it is first. Persephone doesn't appear until Chapter 3, but to get back into the story progression, Chapter 2 rolls around, and this time we are rescuing Callie. And when we meet Callie with Flynn, has to go and flirt with her first. She starts having a liking for him over time, but every chapter that goes on forth from this point, you will have to run into other different parts of the core that you need to go and piece back together. Now, also in some chapters, there will be certain obstacles that can get pretty repetitive, such as lock puzzles. Now, don't get me started on those. Those are like the bane of my existence throughout this game. And next are the rescue missions and the light puzzles. These will happen over time, and they can get annoying really fast. Now, in some chapters, you might run into a boss battle with Chaos, and he has the same 3 phases, but in a different style every time. Now, for example, when you're going back to the Eternal Water Source, he'll throw his Dark Skylanders of that element and his obstacle. He can cast like sharks, bugs, lights, and even fire to dodge around. These hazards will come into effect in a very harder way at the very end of the main story, but also some Eternal Source can become bosses too. For instance, the Earth Source can be this big, huge, gigantic colossus, and the Tech Source can be a tank. Each area of the chapter you'll be running into has different enemies. Some can be very easy and others can be very difficult. Now, especially when you're traveling with T-Bone, some of those zombie enemies can only get destroyed by using the cannon. Skylanders' special moves can't even be used on them, and I can't forget about the Weapon Master story. There is a special race known as the Archeans, and in this part, you'll be able to ride an Archean robot to smash your way through to the end. And after piecing the Coral Light back together, it's time to face the music with Chaos. His battle can be a bit frustrating, but if you remember all of his battle phases from the past area, it should be no problem. The only way to damage him is when he smashes down with his machine. Over time, his Hydra will switch heads to make his hazards even different. Once Chaos is defeated, he does get sent into our real world and turns into a much smaller version of himself. We will meet him again when I go and do the Giants review in the future. But lastly, it's time to go and talk about the expansion world and the post game. Now, remember when I told you guys about my luck at the Future Shop store? Well, I did come across some of the expansion worlds from like Empire of Ice to Dragon Peak, and each has their own story like the Empire of Ice. Now, you do need to help with Holder and his snow problem in his world. Next is the Pirate Seas with Jess LeGrand. There's a pirate card game that is not really hard to do, but they give you enough time to complete the challenges. Another is going to be with Darklight Crypt, and I enjoy this area. This is the best part is by switching between the day and the night, and you can move certain obstacles. Also, there is a boss known as Oculus, and this giant eye monster doesn't really want the ghost to eat any pie. Now, lastly, a callback to the old Spyro games is Dragon Peak. This place has an interesting story to it. You'll need to go and help out with Ramses, an elder dragon, to go and retain his throne by his brother Vavik. There is one other dragon known as Flavius. He will be in your travel buddy as well for this area. And one more other thing to go and talk about within the post game is that remember Callie throughout the game? Well, she does have a special challenge for you within Skylands, and some of the different special challenges will come across with your Skylanders, and there's going to be some that are going to be tricky than others. So with this first review ending and returning back to this series once again, it has been a blast, and in the original game will always still be a classic. Unfortunately, the one downside is for what this game of Skylanders is all about, since I am playing this on the Xbox 360, is the dang load times. I am super frustrated sometimes within this game, is that for some reasons, whenever you're going through a type of screen, whenever you're playing through any of the different chapters, you always will be running into this really annoying like freezing load time thing, and then it like kind of kicks back up later. I don't know if that happens with any of the other different ports of Skylander Spyro Adventure, but let me know in the comments down below if you guys have ever seen any of those type of load times happen. But anyways, I do recommend this game still if you have never went and actually played it. And thank you guys so much for going and checking out with this series. And for my next future up and coming actual next review that I'm going to be doing out here is going to be with Sonic X Shadow Generations. Hope you guys do go and check out on that for when that does happen. I will be playing the physical version on the PS4, so hopefully that this game is going to be really fun, just like how the original Sonic Generations game was when I went and first played it on the Xbox 360 though, for that said port. But thank you guys so much for watching. See you in the next one, and of course, peace.